Hey, what's up guys? Ryan from Elevate Security here. In this video, we will be covering Windows SMB. Now, we've covered Linux SMB, and truth be told, a lot of what I teach you here can be applied to Linux Samba servers as well. But we're going to do a little bit more of a focus on the Windows side of SMB, or just general SMB enumeration, because one thing that I want to bring to light is in the OSCP, back when I took it at least, I know they've updated the lab since then, but I'd imagine a lot of this still exists, though I can't confirm it. But before, there were a lot of boxes that were legacy Windows servers, really old Windows servers. And if you know, these legacy Windows servers, if they're running SMB, an older SMB version, a lot of those are vulnerable historically to remote code execution exploits, right? So the new kind of way to go through, an easy way to go through the OSCP labs is just throw the Metasploit, either Eternal Blue or MS08067, I think, at them, that SMB exploit. So you just throw some SMB exploits at them if you see they're running SMB, and almost every time you get a shell, simply because they were outdated operating systems, now running legacy SMB protocols. Now the thing is, that wasn't even the intended way to do a lot of these lab boxes, but that way end up working on a number of them. Now, even though I know they, in 2020, updated the lab, I think they just added more boxes to the rotation. I mean, if someone has more knowledge and is currently working through the OSCP, let me know in the comments section below. But I believe they just added additional, more up-to-date lab boxes. I don't think they actually updated a lot of the machines. Maybe they did update some of the machines on there, but I think it was more the part of just adding new stuff to the rotation. So, because I think now, when I took the OSCP, there was like 50 lab machines. I think now there's like 80. So, and I'll be interested to see if the exam rotation updated. I think not. I think the exam boxes are still the same. I think they just added to the lab portion of it. But if you have more knowledge than me, let me know down in the comment section below, of course. But in this video, yeah, we're just gonna tackle exactly that because I want to show you. A lot of people that watch my videos that are going for OSCP, they want to do things the non-Metasploit way, right? They want to be able to enumerate these protocols and navigate these protocols without using Metasploit. So usually the way that you interface with SMB is not really auto-poning it for a shell with Metasploit. Now, the reason I keep saying Metasploit is because you try to do it with the manual way. It's such a complex exploit, like corrupting the memory. It's like a buffer overflow, like changing stuff in memory to get the shell. And if you ever look at the exploit code before, have a look at Eternal Blue and stuff. Those exploits are crazy amounts of code, doing a lot of like really crazy looking stuff. But so usually people just use Metasploit for that. And there might be a way to do it. There probably is a way to do it manually, but it might be quite difficult. But the exam, they're not going to expect you to do that manually, right? They're not going to give you that. It's going to be some other thing, right? You might see SMB on the exam and need to enumerate it, and that's what I'll show you how to do here without any further rambling. So let's get right into it. I have a box set up already to demo that. If we take a look at the Nmap scan for that, we will see port 445. That is SMB. This is this is like a Windows server here, by the way, if you couldn't tell, right? But yeah, there's a number of commands that you can use, and let me just give me one sec here. So yeah, the most valuable command, in my opinion, is SMB map. There's a number of things you can do with that. Now, here's how I would normally, the first check that I would do with SMB map. I would just run it with the standard just -H and then the IP address, 149 in this case. Now we're going to actually see an error here, authentication error. What that means is the way I ran it here was to try it with anonymous access, like guest access or whatever, right? Didn't give it a username or password. However, this one is configured more securely, so it doesn't allow any of those null sessions, if you will. Luckily, I do have some credentials that I pulled elsewhere from the application, because if you're getting this authentication failure, look around, check out the other protocols, see if you can find any information by any means necessary, really, to get credentials. Because if you have credentials, then you can actually do this enumeration in this case, even if they have it secured, right? So I can look in notes. Passwords is where I saved it in my case. Got some username, password, credentials here. You know what? Let's try this. Let's try this one, because this one should be the elevated account. I'll show you what this -h command is really about here. So I believe it's an uppercase. You can give the password on the same line. However, it's not really secure to do that if someone looks at your bash history. Okay, it's actually a lowercase u for username. And okay, maybe we need to actually give it the password on this. I can't remember. Between this and SMB Client, they're similar yet different enough to annoy me. Let's enclose this in single quotes because there's some characters that might be interpreted. We don't want them to be interpreted in that way. And yeah, here you go. So what SMB map -h does, as you see, is it looks at all the shares on like all the SMB shares, and it determines what level of permissions your account has for it. So in this case, we have no access whatsoever to the admin share, no access to the C drive share, and read-only access to IPC. Now, if this was a real engagement, we would know this is not very useful. But from here, and I can't really demo this one with this box because we don't have access to this like C share or anything that's going to have files on it that I could really demo this. But if we had access, say we had access to one of these shares, and we wanted to recursively list all the files there, that would be the next thing I would do, by the way. I would do -r for recursively list all files and folders in the share located in this, that we're going to specify, right, in this location, right? So with that, let's say there was temp. Let's say one of these was temp that we had access to. Or no, you know what? Let's go with the example here. Admin. We put admin. Say we had access to it. We don't, but let's just imagine for a second that we did. We would just run with the -r flag, and then we would do same as before. -h, IP address. Right? Now, after we get all the files, say we want to do some Kerber roasting on the system. We have access to the groups XML file. We want to do some Kerber roasting. We want to grab any file from the share. We can do that quite simply with a -a flag and then the name of the file. So maybe like a groups.xml for the Kerber roasting. Add in a -q there. I'm trying to remember what the -q does. Let's see real quick. Simple to look it up, right? -q, quiet verbose output, shows only shares you have read or write on. Okay, yeah. Suppresses the rest. So just a nice little quality of life, easier on the eyes kind of output there from that. And so those are some really key things I could do with SMB map. And there's more. Of course there's more. Depending on the scenario, what you need to do. And all that good stuff. But another thing that you could do, of course, is call on your Nmap scripts, right? So you could look at something like user share Nmap scripts, and then anything with SMB in it, right? And you can see there's a number of different things here. You can try to enumerate users, do some OS discovery to see the underlying operating system. I'd be kind of interested to run that and see if we do get anything back, and if so, what we get. Let me just copy this right here. Oh, the way you'd run that, you could do Nmap, give it the port 445 and the IP address, and then, well, actually right here we'll say script equals the OS discovery script, and we just fire it off that way, and it will try to get what information it can. Here it wasn't able to really determine too much. However, knowing what we know from the Nmap, from let's go back to it here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. From the IIS server version, we know, or we can deduce what version of Windows this is. It's as simple as doing this with throwing a quick Google search on it. Well, Windows version. Then you find the Microsoft link here, and it'll tell you what version corresponds to what OS, right? Well, this one's a little bit of an outdated article. This is from 2017. So if 8 is Server 2012, I'd imagine that 10 is probably Windows Server 2016. This is probably it. That's probably what this OS is. But yeah, that's information we can get from elsewhere. There's a bit of a tangent there, but another ways that we can enumerate SMB is using SMB Client, like I kind of alluded to earlier. We can do a -L for list to list the shares. Kind of just another way of doing the same thing. Now we have to have these two forward slashes here. That's just how it goes for this one. This is the way it operates. Now we can try to do a null session. Obviously that's not going to work as we saw before. But if we want to give it credentials, as we do have, then we could do something like U and then give it a username. We could do hazard. The only thing is I got to grab that password really quick. And you see there, these are the shares. Now, this is where it differs for SMB map. Running it like this, it's not going to tell you what levels of access you have for each one. But that's why I do like to use. I kind of prefer SMB map, truth be told. But you can get some value out of this one as well. Now, say you wanted to connect to a share, like you had access to one. Like let's say you had access to temp share. Then you could just do SMB Client -L, and you give it the full IP plus the share, like so. And in that way, you could just connect to that particular share. And of course, we would need to specify the username. If you want to do username and password on the same thing, we could do it like this as well. Well, there's no such thing as temp here, so it's not going to do anything for us. But the reason why this is not secure, see, unable to connect. Well, I guess I said that every time. But the reason why you don't want to do it like this, right? If someone reads your bash history, you can see it there. This is just a file. If I go to my home directory, ls-la cat bash history, see, it might be, there it is, bash_history. So actually you use less for this. I'll just show you, give you a clear thing of why this is not the most secure thing to do. Wow, this saved a lot of stuff. These are all my commands from before. Well, in this case, because we're doing this within Tmux, we're not seeing it here. We would have to look elsewhere for it. But as you see, you see all your commands here, right? So if at any point I put in a password in any of the lines, right, you would see that password right here. So, I mean, if you're the only one using your Kali box, it doesn't really matter, right? But just in a real-world engagement scenario, something to keep in mind. But yeah, another little tangent there, but I hope you guys are getting value out of these videos. Definitely enjoy making them. And yeah, let me know if there's any questions down in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe for more content of SMB and other things like that. And yeah, be sure to like and comment as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.